Yeah, good morning everybody. We're gonna move some hay today. Gonna try this camera out. Of course, you guys probably heard me complain. No, you probably haven't heard. I hate this camera. Trying it out though. Gonna keep working at it till I get it. I spent too daggone much money on it. Come on, Kicks. Well, that's how I haul big ground bales. Got 2 trucks and 2 trailers set up just because I ain't sold the other truck yet. And I got 2 trailers. So I'll haul. Come on, Kicks, get in there. Good boy. So what I'll do, oh man, that beeping's terrible for you guys. Doesn't bother me. I'm immune to it. I shouldn't advertise not wearing a seatbelt, but I'm the guy that can let the seatbelt ding for 1,000 miles. It doesn't even bother me. Somebody else is with me, like, would you shut? I'm like, I didn't even hear it. Yeah, we better pull up and get just a little bit better on that. But anywho, I'll load a tractor on the trailer and I'll haul it to the first field. I don't have that many to haul off any one particular field. About 2 loads per field, 3 loads on the last field. I'm gonna haul 3 fields today, about 70 bale. This first one I'm gonna take you to, like I say, I go haul the tractor on the trailer, load the trailer, and then I'll drive that truck and trailer home. Just park it right quick, go get the other truck and trailer, or jump out of the other truck, jump out of this truck in the other truck, drive back to that same field, tractor's still there, I'll load it up. I'll bring that truck home, and then I'll unload both of those. And if I got more in that field, then I drive the first truck back there and go to loading it. If I don't, I'll drive my truck to the next field and I'll have my wife follow me to that field and then bring me back to the tractor, and I'll just road the tractor over to the next field. Well, hell, Kicks. You tell anybody hi? You tell anybody you ate turnips? Man, that daggum dog will eat whatever I'm eating. I was eating turnip last night for supper. That's all I wanted. And it's fresh turnip. Slice him up thin, put a little salt on him. He always thinks he wants whatever I eat. He just looking there, deer across the road in front of us. We'll turn you guys around, see if you can see that way. Right there off to your left's that treetop fell across the road. He's sitting there, thought he wanted a turnip. I thought, well, I'll teach you. I handed him a piece of turnip. Yeah, he wanted it, he ate it. And every time I wanted to bite, he wanted to bite. He's not a very smart dog. He sits there with his tongue out all the time. Well, not all the time. A lot of times there's 1.5 inches of that tongue sticking out. Right now they're just the tip. Get that tongue back in your head. But anyhow, I'll see you guys there. I'll bring you along. We'll load up a little bit of hay. And yeah, hopefully this camera's gonna work. Well, we'll try this again. I hate this DJI camera. Oh, I'm hating it. I've lost so much video on it. I just showed you guys loading a load of hay on the other trailer. They got the last 5 minutes of it, and we got some good chainsaw talk in amongst it, and I will probably try it again. That'll be the fourth time I've tried this, and it'll pick up about 5 minutes of it, and I just keep trying something different, reformatted the card. I just hate the camera. I do not recommend buying one of these at this point in my life, or in your life. I hate it. hate it. But anyhow, I wanted something with an external mic so I could talk to you guys and show you stuff like this. This township road here, here in Illinois, we got 102 counties, and they're broke down in each of the counties is broke down in townships. And these townships are about, I don't know, 30 square mile, give or take. 36, something like that, in this county. And there's like over 467 square mile in the county, so some of them are small. I think there's 12 townships in the county. Heck, I can't remember. But it's still township road here, kind of like a parish for you guys in Louisiana and Kentucky and probably some other ones that I don't know about. I don't know how your parishes are broke down. This would be a subset of a parish. This would be however your parish is broke down. For you guys that aren't familiar with counties and townships, you guys across different countries, I don't know how you're broke down. Doesn't matter. We're on a government road though. Excuse me. We're going to open up into a field here in just a minute, and I don't have very many big bales on this field because I square baled about north of 600 off this field too. It's just about a little 9-acre patch. And this township road keeps going all the way up through them highline poles, but the road's only about 5 foot wide up there at one point. It goes down over this hill and it's just clay and washed out, and there's a big old hill in there, little creek at the bottom of it, and it's always washed out. I wouldn't have to get on the highway generally. There's a tractor up there where I loaded the last one. We're gonna run over here and park, and there should be 11 bale left out here in this field. We'll get them loaded up. We'll have a little bit of time to BS and talk here, so I'm gonna get this thing rattle around like a fruit jar full of marbles back here. We'll get this thing turned around and where we can load her, and we'll let the dogs out. We'll let them run over to the pond and get them a drink if they want to. And I'm gonna walk up to the tractor. I'll stop you guys and we'll get started again once we get going. Well, let's try this again. Explain to you guys a little bit what's going on here. I've got a 3-point spear behind me. I've got a bale spear behind me, one on the loader. So these bales can get spread out pretty good. So back and forth to the trailer, I can at least I can carry 2 at a time, do a little bit less traveling. What I do is I've got 2 trucks and trailers right now I'm using. These here ain't gonna work perfect because they're awful close together, but what I'll do is I'll back up and hit that first bale and usually just get her set the other way, and I still might. Ain't much room to maneuver between these two. They're close to each other. We got us a bale on the back side now. Ain't hardly got room to get up there and maneuver that in there. Let's see if we can just twist her just a little bit. There we go. We'll get these loaded up. I got, there's just 23 bale on this field, so we got 12 on the first load, 11 on this load, and I can hold 14 on it. Actually, I can hold more than that, but 14 is generally what I haul. So I mentioned a while ago hating this camera. I've talked to you guys about 3 or 4 times now. I lost all my baling video. Didn't even record any of it. No, that aggravated me. But anyhow, I digress. Inertia. I want to think about inertia on chainsaws and how that affects possibly exhaust timing, how much compression you can run, things like that. That flywheel inertia has a whole lot to do. The inertia off that flywheel has to do what you do when you pull a starter rope. You're pulling a starter rope, bringing it up over compression, right, until it fires. Well, once it's running, that flywheel's doing the exact same thing. It's pulling the rope every single stroke for you, right? It's bringing it up on compression. And there's not too much extra inertia in there. You shut off a chainsaw, what'll it make? Maybe 2 revolutions before it, you know, when you shut it off, before it comes down to nothing. You don't get too many revolutions in it, right? Before it runs that flywheel out of inertia. Well, the higher compression, you guys seen high compression engines, you shut it off and it's like you stuck a piston stop in the top of that. Well, we're just gonna grab one bale. This time it's close to the truck. It's like putting a piston stop. Something real high compression just comes up. It doesn't take it a bit to wind down. You guys ever throw a rod on an old chainsaw? Or, yeah, probably chainsaw too, I guess, but I was thinking lawnmower. You ever throw a rod on an old Briggs and scrap iron deal? And you know right away, because it just spins down. And that crankshaft will turn. Hell, you can give it a yank with a rope and that crankshaft will still turn 10 or 15 revolutions, right? It just spins in there. All that inertia is stored in that flywheel. Now we know we can store inertia in a flywheel because one of the laws of physics is something tends to stay in motion unless otherwise acted upon, right? I'm sure I didn't quote it right, but you get the point. If it wasn't for compression and friction losses, noise, and all that, that inertia would stay in that flywheel on that chainsaw or whatever. Now we know the inertia doesn't stay in that flywheel because of all the outside factors. One of those being the exhaust, or the exhaust roof. I don't know if anybody's ever correlated. We know that like some saws, 200T comes to mind. It's got a real high exhaust roof, right? Boy, it runs like a bugger. Nobody knows why. Or like, let's say you're running an 046 and it likes a certain exhaust roof, and then you're running a 461, it likes a different exhaust roof. You're running some Husqvarna of the same equivalent, and I'm sorry guys, I'm not in Husqvarna territory. I can't give you a number of a saw. Let's say a 372 though. That's a number I'm familiar with. And a 372 likes a different exhaust roof for what you can get away with. Well, I wonder if anybody's ever correlated that the flywheels are different diameters and different mass. The reason diameter matters, farther out you are, of course, the more the mass, the more inertia it can store. We're going to do one bale at a time here for a couple. But if you can store more inertia, can you get away with running more RPMs? My thinking on that, we're going to take out of consideration the burn of the fuel for a little bit. And we know that's going to have a little bit to do, or a lot to do, with your RPMs. It's kind of like running a 350 something or another Magnum out of a 2-inch barrel. You're wasting a lot of powder and blowing a lot of fire. You run the same thing out of a 62-inch barrel. Let's just go extreme. Well, you're not realizing all the speed on that because you've already lost you've already lost your potential. You no longer have the push you needed. You're not gained. You're diminishing returns. Excuse me. Oh. About lost that one, didn't I? So we do have some diminishing returns there, but I don't want to consider the exhaust right now, or I don't want to consider the combustion gases as much right now, because we're talking about inertia. The combustion gases are actually putting the inertia back in, is going to have an effect. But what I'm considering is the higher your compression. Let's say you got a real high compression saw, and it is gaining net horsepower at some cost, right? I'm wondering if something as simple as checking the flywheels, maybe changing the flywheel to something that'll a heavier flywheel. I don't know, but I'd guess something like that 200T that screams so good. I bet it has a lot to do with flywheel weight and inertia. Now, what I'd like to consider is, we always like RPM in the cut. We talk about that a lot, right? And a lot of times you got to go from 100. Let's say you got to go from 100 to 96 to pick up whatever RPM you like in the cut. Well, you're losing a little bit of compression there, right? Because you're compressing 4 degrees less charge. Well, why are we losing the RPMs? Is it because we're having diminishing returns on our combustion, and by the time we coming down, and by the time we get to 90, 95 degrees, whatever it is, have we already lost all that expansion from the combustion gases? Or are we losing some on the compression side? It's kind of like that old truck right there. It's got a 5.4 in it, and it's a 3/4 ton. Super Duty, it says. And it'll pull a load. But I call it an old dragonfly truck. It'll drag a load up one hill and fly down the next. That's how I consider this inertia on your rotation, right? The compression stroke, she's dragging up. It slows that engine down. You never notice it, but it does. It's kind of like a PTO shaft being out of alignment on the yoke. Believe it or not, that shaft speeds up and slows down every time it comes over that yoke. It's different. But what I'm getting at is it's, whether you can perceive it or not, that engine is slowing down and speeding up every revolution due to inertia. Well, is it slowing down enough that that's causing us to have to put more inertia back in every time because it depletes it so bad? Because, right, I think I've already mentioned it, but if we had a great big old flywheel like on a 208 oil field motor, or one of them old hit and miss 5-horse engines that you see at tractor shows, that thing's got a flywheel probably weighs 1,000 pounds or better, right? Well, it only has to hit just every once in a while. It may only fire every 30 seconds because they're set up like that too. But my point is, that will store inertia, and the more inertia storage capacity you have, I think the more RPMs we can get out of this saw. It's going to take it longer to wind up. I don't think it'd be good for lemon and things like that where you're on and off a trigger. But I'm not talking necessarily about going extremes either. And I think it's something we can test on dyno. I think we can, it'll be on the next saw. I'm not going to tear up the flywheel on this 026. I'll do it on the next saw. That'll probably just spend its life on dyno anyhow. But if I was to take the stock flywheel, take my dyno reading, right, take that over to the mill so I could evenly space, maybe on a index wheel or whatever, take that so I can drop in a bale. Mill me some holes in there and try to make it all basically an unbalanced balance, whatever you want to call it. Make them the same all the way across there. That's of course going to lighten it up. Take another dyno measurement while I've just got the holes drilled in it, right? And then the next thing, pour that full of lead or Babbitt or myself, I just probably fire up the old lead pot and run it in there. And I'd be curious to know if we can't get some more RPMs out of it without ever changing a whole other thing. I'm glad I hope my bale count ain't off. I'm missing one. There's one out here in the field. Guys, what I did on this field is so odd shape. I went ahead and just raked the outside two windrows, and baled them off with a big baler when I got done with that last field that you guys didn't get to see because of this daggum junk DJI camera. I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. Have I told you I hate this camera yet? There's that bale. I'm glad I counted. I had to count. There it is. Yeah, I baled off the outside two windrows of this field. Got 23 big bale off of it, and then I come in there to square baler and got a little over 600 square bales off of it. Partly because I didn't want to make the turns all the way around this outside with the baler and accumulator. I should have put that on the back, shouldn't I? Make a smoother ride out across that field. All the way over to that trailer. But that should be our load. Up there and get that tied down. Guys, tell me what you think about including a little bit of chainsaw talk, especially theory, and especially things that I haven't done yet that I'd like to share with you guys and get some input, right? And I hate saying hiding it in this haying video, but let's face it, there's some of you guys that I talk to about it, but won't necessarily give it. I don't want to say this. There's people that watch just a little bit. I don't think they're watching the whole video. They're watching a little bit of my content, just coming up with ideas for their content, their videos, right? And some of them's not even watching enough of it to get it right, and they're getting it wrong. But if I hide it in here, hide it, I've got a couple choices. I've got 3 choices. I just keep doing what I'm doing, and while I'm talking about something else, put it in the chainsaw video. And if somebody else gets to it before I do, well, that's just their business. But I want to put it out there in the meantime, and I hate for them to get it all wrong. And I'm glad the people is getting it wrong. Ain't nobody mentioned my name yet, or the channel's name, so that's good. At least they're not giving me credit for getting stuff wrong, but they're not necessarily getting it right. They're taking about part of what I'm saying and missing the important part sometimes. We'll leave the tractor right here. This field's empty now, so I'll bring this trailer home. My other trailer is already home. All right, guys, appreciate you watching. Let me know what you think about the chainsaw talking in amongst the haying videos. If you like it, if you don't, let me know. Like I say, I hate this camera. We're gonna work at it best we can. I don't know, I gotta unload this hay. Best I can tell you, stay hydrated, my friends. Give her that hitchhiker symbol if I did okay. Give her the old Julius Caesar if I didn't. Subscribe if you hadn't. If I ain't got on your nerves too bad yet. Oh, Kicks, you worthless dog. I'll let you guys go. I'm gonna get some hay unloaded.